Hello and welcome to the March Mayhem in November, presented by Discraft here at Garfield Park in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Had a bit of a delay for this tournament because of COVID, but we are here now finally. And commentating with me, I have RJ Cental. How you doing, RJ?
I'm doing pretty all right. You know, it's a beautiful Michigan day out there.
Yeah, it's 70 degrees pushing this weekend. It's just absolutely very strange November weather, but we're excited to be out here. Thanks to our sponsors for the event for hosting such a great Michigan tournament, as well as our sponsors for us. Just makes it easy for us to get out there and do more coverage every single time.
Well, first up, we got Ian Hamilton, probably the nicest guy in Michigan. 985 rated, 14 career wins, and this is kind of a local tournament for him.
Yeah, this is definitely one of his parks that he plays a lot during the summer months. And here's Luke Taylor, 14 years old, up-and-comer. He's a fantastic disc golfer, rated 988. Super excited to have him on the channel.
And we got the luckiest player in Michigan. We got Andrew Marwede, 41 career wins. He's having a pretty decent year, I'd say.
Yeah, he's got the highest rating in Michigan all time at one point this year at 1029. And along with him, we have Noah Moorehouse, who's been battling him and other pros on the east side of the state all year, rated 985, and he's been just crushing it out there, looking to take this one on the west. Here we have hole 1, par 3, 228 feet. Pretty straight standard shot here. You're probably throwing a putter backhand. RJ, what are the plays that you're seeing here?
Yeah, there really is only just like the play up the middle. The tricky thing is that first little gap. It's a little bit tighter than it looks, especially on camera. And plus being the first hole of the day and on coverage, it's not as easy as it looks, as it should be.
A little extra nerves maybe. We got Marwede starting us off here. He has an AVR 3 in his hand here. He just replaced the pink one that's been in his bag for forever with this beautiful gray and swirly one. And that's a pretty good start to the day. He's going to be 15 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty close. That should be automatic from there. We got Ian, too.
I'm not 100% sure what this is. It might be an AVR 3 from him as well. I know they both throw Innova.
That looks good.
This has got to slow down a little bit.
Sit.
Actually, that needed to get up another 3 feet and get an ace.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we need that.
Please, someone ace on the channel. I'm not asking for the world. I'm just asking for one ace.
Yeah, just one.
We got Noah here. Throws a mixture of Innova and Discraft. He's throwing his Luna.
Yeah, it's a Crystal Luna. That one's really flippy. I know I've seen it a couple times. Little short, but that's still in his range.
Yeah, I think he tried to power down to not flip it over because in his hand it does flip pretty quickly, but ended up just staying a little short because of it.
And Luke's just all Discraft, right?
He's a Discraft Underground sponsored player, and this is a zone in his hand right now.
Zone. Interesting. Oh, wow, that is a very straight zone.
Yes, that was... I was not expecting it to do that.
Yeah.
But we're all out there. We're all in circle. Got a couple putts here for our birdie looks. Noah's the farthest one out, circle's edge.
It looks like he just changed to Lunas, too, because he's been putting for with P2s for pretty much all year. Got a really clean putting routine here, very consistent. Get in. Whew. Good catch.
Yeah, and that's a little right.
That's a good putt for the round to start the round off.
Oh yeah. Getting that first putt out of the way is really important to get your groove going early, because if you tap in 6 putts in a row and then all of a sudden the 7th hole, you're almost never going to make it because you're not in a rhythm.
Oh, just off the cage there. Sit. Yeah, I like to have, when I start my round, I like to have like a 15, 18 footer. Nothing too long, but just enough to like have a little bit of pressure. That way it's not, you just get that first putt in going.
Yep, get it out of the way. Know you can do it. And that's what Ian has done there.
Putt. Yep, that's like the distance right there that I like to have. I don't purposely put it at that distance. I'd rather be under the basket, but...
Ian's saying that he was, for some reason, he's been on coverage before, he's been around, he hangs out with me. Yeah. But he just had some nerves for today. I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah, I played with him the second round, and he definitely told me, I think he said the first 6 or 7 holes he was super nervous.
Yeah, so. It's a little strange to hear from Ian. He's a real great guy. He hasn't been nervous on the channel before, but, sometimes it gets you when you feel like you're at a course that you can win, and even against a top-tier pro like Andrew here, and, just trying to get it going. As we head into hole 2, another par 3. Actually, everything today is going to be a par 3. 335 foot here. Really like what they've done here. They planted a couple trees in front of the basket. The basket is a little elevated. You either have the option of going righty hyzer or forehand hyzer or lefty hyzer if you need to. And as these trees kind of grow, it'll add a little extra obstacle there to make the hole a little more difficult.
Oh, yeah, geez, I didn't even see those.
Yeah, I mean, for today, they're not super relevant because you kind of have to hit an invisible paper, like thin line in order to really get obstructed by it, but That it's going to be a really nice looking hole and really, really balanced in the next coming years.
Yeah, you got to pick your side essentially. Andy surprised going with the forehand. That one that's got a spike.
Yeah, this. I thought that was going to.
Yeah, that's a good spot. See, even like the 15 footers on this one with that raised basket are a little bit more difficult. I don't think there was a lot of wind the first round, but second round it definitely got a little bit windier.
Yeah,
spoilers.
I feel bad for the people who had to start in this hole because that's definitely a different putt.
For sure.
To begin with, but
that's a weird spot, that little bit long and right, because there's those branches that are kind of in the way. But he should have a look at it.
Yeah, that's kind of that tester range that on a normal basket, it's like you still pretty confident on, but with this elevated basket, it's going to be probably in his head.
That one's got a spike.
Yeah, Noah, as soon as he released this, said that was not wide enough, and it's going to get a little bit of a skip.
Not a terrible skip, though. It looked almost like it should have been a flare skip, but he got a good reaction off the ground, it looked like. And then Luke going with the forehand here. Looks probably like a force, I imagine?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's in Luke's bag. He's got a interesting combination. He also has a channel out there where he does Team Taylor round reviews with his dad.
Check that out. That's a good shot.
That
perfect. Almost might be too tall for him to. He's gonna have to probably power putt that one because he's shorter than I am. He's still 14 though, so I guess he has time to grow.
Yeah,
he'll probably be taller than me. I'm pretty short.
Here's Noah.
Ooh, good run.
Just a touch low. Yeah, that's a good.
That's a tough one to run.
Yep. Because you know that if you miss the basket, it's like another putt that same distance coming back. Here's Ian with that tester range.
Yeah.
Does the same thing, just a touch too low.
I don't know if that lower ceiling affected him at all, but yeah, I mean, whenever you're getting right at that 20, 25, 30-foot range on a basket like this, it's hard to get the height because you got to go above the band.
Yeah.
And that's just it's something you're not used
scary,
to.
Yeah.
This one's raised quite a bit. I mean, it's weird because it doesn't have the
pyramid
box that we usually have around it, so I guess it just looks more intimidating than it actually is.
Marwede, they're actually labeling the longest putt, and
did that stick?
They so what happened is that Marwede kind of covered the bag and the envelope with leaves, but left the flag out so you could see it, and they just wanted to see how long it was going to last. And I think someone on the next hole took it, but it was fun to think that it was going to stand for a while. Here we have probably the easiest hole in the course, hole 3, par 3, 201 feet. This is the ace run for sure. You're throwing a forehand shot here, probably is the typical play. You can throw backhand, but there is a tree technically to the right that kind of comes into play if you happen to misrelease a little bit.
So this one with the forehand's a little bit weird because the hill is sloping to the right. Mm-hmm. So if you don't commit your shot far enough to the left, you're gonna roll down the hill right. And it looks like Andy went a little long. That shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Looked like an ace run from our angle, like went right behind the basket. Yeah, I was hopeful.
Yeah, forehand's going to be probably the most common play. You know, this is the only hole that I didn't get at least once.
Really?
When I played. Yeah, I birdied a lot of holes out here, and this was the only one that I didn't get. Both, at least once. Yeah, I know Ian has like a really interesting play on this one. I don't know if he does it the first round.
Interestingly enough, this is not the easiest hole on the day, checking the stats. Yeah, it's actually...
Get in.
That was a good run there. It's probably the 4th easiest, tied for it or so. Lots of holes played just slightly easier, but this is Garfield Park where there's a lot of birdie opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I went bogey free and still didn't cash. I mean, if you bogey a hole, it's tough sledding at that point.
Yeah, you got to really recover yourself.
It's hard to not par at least. If there is a course in Michigan that is deuce or die, it's this course.
Yeah, this is the very definition of it. Here's Marwede here from 20, 25 feet in that range. And this is a very packed course. There's people walking all over the place. In the uncharacteristic miss from Marwede there.
Second, or what is it, third hole of the day? Yeah.
Yeah, third hole of the day.
I can't remember if there was really that much wind.
There was not a whole lot of wind at this point of the round.
Yeah, good putt.
Yeah, Luke making a good correction there. Back-to-back birdies for him.
Yep, good putt, Ian. He's got that super hyzer putt.
Yeah, he's very, very firm, very quick on his putt.
Not a lot of arm movement with Ian's putt is what I've noticed. It's a lot of he's using his hips to get the disc to the basket. That must be... He played hockey, right? I bet that has something to do with like his slap shot. You know, like his slap shot's really short.
Right. I'm not sure what Ian has played in the past. I'd have to ask him.
I'm pretty sure it was hockey.
Gotcha. Okay, heading to hole 4 now. Par 3, 247 feet. There's a Mando on this particular hole. You'll see the drone flying in between these two trees. The Mando's on that right tree. Have to throw to the left of it. Which really doesn't impact a lot of players. You're actually throwing to the left of the two trees that I just flew through, where really you're just trying to hyzer it and let that angle skip kind of go towards the basket there. The real common miss, if any of them, is really just throwing a little too far, I think, and hitting that tree kind of by the basket.
So there's kind of two plays on this one. It looks like Luke's going like way left and trying to skip it in front of those trees, and then there's what I did actually was an anti-flex through that first little gap. Probably not the most preferred play, but I had pretty good success going between those two trees in the middle, because it's a lot of, you got to get a lot of ground action going way left like this. That one is that probably will actually get it, because that's got a good angle. Ooh, that didn't skip his... Oh no, that got a little roll afterwards too, so that should be in.
Yeah, he pushed a little deep there, whipped past the bush, but he'll still have a look from there.
Yeah, preferably you'd want to skip it between those two trees there.
Right. You want to
right in front of it.
Yep. Here's Noah here with his Firebird. And this is really wide.
It's high. Missed that. Yeah, that got a weird kind of ground. I don't know if I hit something on the ground. I know there's with the leaves on the ground, a lot of the roots that you would usually see you can't see off the tee. So I know I had a couple times where I hit exactly where I wanted to, but it was a root that I didn't see off the tee and didn't get the skip. That's a good shot. That's pretty much exactly what you want to do.
Yep, get right in front of it. Here's Ian here from
this
circle 2.
This is probably just outside, and a little short on that one. A little bit uncommitted.
Here's Noah here. This is contested underneath the tree here.
Tricky putt. Yep, he looks like he... Oh, good putt.
Okay, very uncomfortable stance there. He had to like kind of putt underneath the log and kind of avoid hitting that, but does a nice job of converting that one.
Andy with the tap in.
Yep. Clean from him. Also going to see some couple more tap ins, as I think Luke was pretty much parked. Ian needing to clean up this kind of a tester, but really he can't, like you said, you really can't afford a bogey at any time here. So you really just, even on these ones where it's usually routine for him, just take a second, make sure you're locked in, tap that in, take your par and move on. Try to convert on the next hole.
Yeah, I'm always, even from 12 feet, I'm always trying to make sure that I'm taking my time, because you don't ever want to feel rushed when you're out there.
For sure. Here's hole 5, which is actually one of the harder holes on the course for the day. Lots of trees that you have to beat off the tee itself, probably up to 175 feet off the tee. And then once you get past it, it opens up a little bit. This tree on the right here is what catches a lot of people late. But backhand hyzer into that gap is pretty common. You will see some people try to throw forehands in the tighter gap on the trees on the left there. That's just kind of committed to whether your preference is. I also like this play a lot from Luke, where you're throwing a forehand flex through that right gap and letting it kind of pan out.
Yeah, I did like a mid-range, so I flexed like an overstable mid-range, and I like how the shot shapes where it's kind of landing flat after it kind of flexes back, because really how this hill slopes, it slopes down, as you can see. So a lot of shots are going to filter to the left if you hit that gap. So you really want to throw something that's going to land flat. So something either understable or something overstable with a little flex. That was a good shot from Luke first, and we got Noah.
He's going to miss that.
Now sit.
Tight. Kind of caught up on some of those invisible branches. Hits the long putt flag and sits 2 feet behind it.
Yeah. At least he knows if he makes that, he's going to be long putt. So that's always a good surprise. Going with a flex forehand.
No, he's going through the left gap.
He's going through the left gap?
Yeah, he's attempting to go through that triangle gap on the left, which is tighter, but with the stability of his disc, it just there's no trees past that gap at all.
I shouldn't be surprised, because he will find a forehand gap if there is one. Did he hit the...
Yeah, he hits the tree on the left, and it knocked it straight down, so didn't
he's
quite
going to have
convert.
a little bit of a scramble then.
Yeah. But luckily for him, there's no trees in front of that, so it's wide open.
It should be easy up and down for it with a peg. Missed that. Yep, that's the one tree. If you hit the initial gap, that's the one tree you got to miss.
Yeah.
It looks like he's a little obstructed.
A little tight.
That's wide. Missed that.
You can't hear it on the coverage because it's muted except when they're putting, but I thought every single time I see him forehand a disc like that, a Firebird, when he's at a standstill trying to push the distance on it, sounds like he breaks his fingers.
Yeah, he does. There is a lot of snap. I swear to God, he snaps his fingers as soon as he throws it.
Sounds just like that.
Yeah. He gets a lot of snap.
Ian with a decent run, just right next to the basket, though. A little short. Noah as well.
Oh, man, I thought that was it.
Yeah, great line. Just stayed in the air a little too long.
I think, yeah, you can kind of see the winds, or the leaves are blowing around a little bit. I'm almost positive it picked up a little bit as we were going.
Yep.
And I remember, I think it was a headwind coming across the road. So it did look like it lifted his putt a little bit. Yeah, you can see the leaves kind of blowing. Yep. You can see stuck it in the bottom. That's pretty much on these baskets here. You want to either hit the low spots, catch really well on these baskets. Is what I've noticed. High on the pole. Ooh, that's a uncharacteristic. Luke's usually a pretty solid putter.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player. That's just uncharacteristic for him. And like we said, a bogey can spell disaster here. So
yeah, I mean that takes that. All these holes are birdie holes. So if you take not only by not getting the birdie, and then you would take a birdie away on additional hole. I mean, it's a big deal, especially on this course. So he's got to
see if he recovers. Yeah. Hole 6, par 3, 225 feet. This one, surprisingly, is not as difficult as it looks as the drone takes this straight gap. You're probably actually going to play to the left or right of this gap. The righty hyzer with something really stable as a putter, or mid-range, just kind of like skipping it towards the basket, or forehand, same thing on the left gap.
Ooh. A car coming through?
Yeah, they're blasting their music.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, I do. I think I heard that one.
And Noah saying that's not the song he picked for his
walk-up song?
No, it's not his walk-up song. Had to include that one.
Yeah, this one, that's it. So if it would have been the right song, that probably...
Yeah, it would have aced it.
You would have been parked, exactly.
Gosh, whoever drove that car, you selfish person, play the right song, please. Here's Marwede.
With the Firebird.
This is his most overstable Firebird. And
that's parked.
That's a good CTP. This is a 50-50 hole CTP.
I would when I did the kind of, I went on the right side with a kind of a straight to stable putter. I was going to be parked too, but I hit that one tree that's right in the front, and it shot it straight down instead of putting it next to the basket. So I was wondering who got that actual CTP. That's what mine did.
Just like that. Yep. Speak of the devil, Ian Hamilton did the same thing.
I think that right gap is definitely the play. I mean, obviously these guys have pretty good forehands, but it's a lot wider on that right gap. Yeah, that's a good shot from Luke. That's a good recovery shot.
Yeah, for sure. Get himself, take a birdie, right? Erase the bogey as quickly as possible, and then just get back to trying to get on that birdie train.
I mean, I hate to say you got a birdie out when you get a bogey, but it really feels like that at that course. Because, I mean, I was checking live scoring, and it was, the whole time I was checking live scoring, it's 1 or 2 strokes where it's just, I mean, the difference between, it seemed like 5th place and 15th place. It was just ridiculous. If that's the longest putt on this hole, that's... Oh, no. Noah's scrambling, right? Okay.
Yeah, Noah had to take an upshot from there, but does a nice job of saving that par.
Yep. That's for hitting a tree early. Essentially, you're just re-teeing.
Also, shout out to Luke here. You know, I know he's played in the open field for a while. He was, this year for states, he took 2nd in AM1. Mm-hmm. He's definitely a great competitor, but just shout out to him and, like, you know, kind of stepping up here, playing with some really good Michigan local pros here that
for sure.
Can be very intimidating for your first time playing with them. And
this is his first time on coverage too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is his first time.
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous and I was 25 years old playing on my first time on coverage, so I can't even imagine being 14. I can't even remember what I was doing when I was 14.
Hole 7 here, par 3, 241 feet. The drone took this center path right towards the basket. That's not the common play most of the time. The only reason we recorded that is because it's on the request of Ian Hamilton, who likes to take that gap from time to time. But this is the common place to kind of go left of that entire thing, go into the open space with a really stable forehand disc, and just have it crash back towards the basket.
You pretty much want to, if you're going to throw the low skip shot, like a lot of people will do, that's a really good shot. If you see this bush that's going to be on the left side, you pretty much want to skip it just beyond that with a nice angle. Yep. That's kind of and you get like almost like a double skip, especially with the leaves. That one's not probably going to get the skip because of the angle. Yeah, it got a pretty good straight skip.
Yeah,
but you really want to put a lot of hyzer angle on it, so it almost hits a 1, 2, 3 kind of skip.
Yeah, kind of dabbles and goes right. think Luke.
Yep, that looks like a good angle on that one.
I think he is a primarily forehand player. I don't know that for certain.
He throws a lot of forehands.
He's very good at both. That's the part I'm gonna say I'm super jealous about.
He probably is a pretty good baseball player, I assume.
Oh, I can imagine.
Is Noah going up the middle?
Noah is going up the middle with a rock, I believe. And this was fading.
Did he hit the pole?
No, he hit that tree to the right there. He was kind of headed right towards the OB, asked for it to hit that tree last second, which it does, and he's going to have a putt now. Luke needing this.
Good putt.
Yeah. And he's right back on that birdie train, which he needs to do after that bogey, so he's still in the mix here.
Noah from about 22, 23?
Yeah,
good putt.
Yeah, easy work for him. A couple more putts now.
This would be a good star frame.
Yeah, this is a good hole to get a star frame on.
Good putt,
our first
Ian.
One, if we get it.
Yeah,
as long as Marwede doesn't mess it up.
My card for the first round, we didn't get a star frame I think until 17 or 16.
Wow.
We was 2 or 3 people were birdieing every hole. I don't think we had a hole where. Besides this hole, I think this is the hardest hole in the course.
It does play as the hardest hole in the course for sure. I'm sorry, second hardest hole. Excuse me. This is
Besides
probably
the
par
4.
The quote unquote right. This one is the most unfair line I would call and I'm going to use unfair in heavy quotation marks because really it's attackable. It's just really tight lines. Yeah. So as long as you get past the first initial trees, either there's a right hand kind of stable or straight mid-range gap, or you can go big forehand, but the forehand's kind of harder to get all the way there for.
So my play was, see that big tree on the left side? I tried to skip it just past that. Oh yeah, that's what you don't want to do.
That's kind of the second misfire we've seen from Marwede now. It's uncharacteristic of him. We'll see if he's able to kind of lock that in as we keep going. But yeah, the tree you see farthest back that's dark in the shadow, that's the one you're trying to get right in front of.
Even I tried to go just a little bit past it, but even if you do skip it and throw the perfect shot, it just seems like you're always 30, 40 feet down the hill on the right, no matter what you do. It really is one of those holes where you can't really park it unless Ian just parks it right here, which is gross. Yeah, that's a really good shot. I mean, if you get all the way down there and you're having a putt, I consider that a good play on this hole.
He 100%, 10 seconds after he threw that, turned around and went, oops, I did not mean to do any of those things. He shanked it, and it happened to go past the basket. But I guess
sometimes that's how it goes.
Yes.
So yeah, the high forehand play I don't like. I like the low between. If you see the 2 dead trees, that's the gap that I'm trying to hit off the tee.
And Luke there said, "Who put that tree there?"
Yeah,
someone pushed that tree 5 feet, 6 feet farther back.
Yeah, it's really not a. See, this is a interesting play that flex up the middle. It looks like if you just got a touch more height on that, that would have been really good.
I agree.
I just love flex shots, either backhand or forehand. So I think they're the prettiest shot to watch.
Marwede here in kind of a predicament. This is a true scramble if he can save it, and he left his pick a little short, and he skipped wide, circled 2 there.
That's where you want your drive to be, is right at that spot. So
we're gonna see if he can save that. That's a big putt for him. Luke just kind of pitching up there, seeing if it would flex back and give it a half run there, but you're asking so much to make a 150 footer.
Yeah, it's a downhill putt, so you really gotta. See, a lot of these guys putt with hyzer, so on those downhill putts, it seems like it's gaining speed as it hyzers back. Right. And so you'll see a lot of times with somebody that putts with a lot of hyzer going downhill, if they don't hit the basket, it goes way long. Yeah, that one looked good too. How many birdies were on this one? There had to be not very many.
For round 1, there were 3.
3?
One from you, one from Mike.
See, I had a putt right where Andy was for birdie. That was I thought the absolute perfect shot, and I still had Burke left to go.
It was a big putt to save par.
Yep.
Cash.
And he just loves floating those putts up in the air. He has to have like the highest arcing putt
on tour right now, you think?
Oh, I would say just in general.
He does like to put it way up there.
Him and Greg Barsby have like a very similar kind of style of putt where it's a very much a push putt. More like a pitch where you're just throwing it in the air. Good catch.
Clinch a little bit. You can see him shaking his head no, but you know what? It's
in the basket.
It's a par save, and he can walk on.
Yeah. par is probably this is probably the only hole and the really long one where you're like, all right, par isn't the worst thing on this hole.
Yeah, this hole, and there's one more hole on the back nine where it feels like if you take a par, you're not really losing any strokes.
Yeah.
Taking a birdie here feels like you're gaining half a stroke, probably, kind of that equation. But heading to hole 9 now, another par 3 at 350 feet. This one's a little open space. There is some OB on the right side with the path, but really that's only if you kind of misfire with a forehand that happens to skip that deep.
See, I'm throwing a backhand on the lower right side. That's actually, I think first round I tried to throw right at it. I just threw a mid-range, tried to throw a mid-range right at it. But
yeah.
It's deceptively shorter than it looks because it does play a little bit downhill.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very easy to gas it too long.
Are we going back to that destroyer that he did on hole 2?
Very stable destroyer.
Very.
Spike.
He's going to need it to spike again. And
it does.
He has that thing trained really well.
Yeah. He's probably one of the best players in the world as far as knowing his angles when the disc hits the ground. Not only does he throw really good forehands, but he knows the angles so well.
Ian's trying to go right at it.
Yep. I think that's he needs a little more turn to get that distance, and I mean he had the distance, but if he just gets a little bit more turn, I think that's I mean, you can't. It's pin high.
That's his rock, right? And
yeah.
He's just, I don't know if he was afraid of turning it over, but
I mean, yeah, the rocks are,
they're amazing.
I hate rocks.
Okay, Discraft lover. Anyway, we have Luke here throwing a forehand. I believe it's a Raptor that he's throwing here.
That's a long ways for a Raptor.
It's either a Raptor or a Force. It might have been a Force, but I don't remember for sure. I know that he thumped it.
Yeah, it looks like he put a lot into it.
This is another destroyer from Noah here. This is a Paul Macbeth destroyer, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, that needs to get a flare back. I think that's going to get a flare back. Oh, wow.
Big one.
Good shot.
And, it's even turning more. It's maybe taking that CTP.
That was a good shot. See, that's when you get that flex and it hits that ground flat. That's when you get a lot of those flare skips. Good putt from Ian.
Ooh,
that
just
was
barely over.
Right on circle's edge. It looked like that's. Those always feel the best to get because you walking up to it. It's not the easiest putt. So if you miss it, you're not too mad. But you always want to make those circle one putts. Good putt from Luke as well. After that one bogey, he finished really strong. He only missed the one hole, which
is a difficult hole.
Yeah, is a difficult hole. And then Andy tapping his in, and Noah is probably gonna hit his head on the disc. I think they had to. I watched them do this. They used Andy's big feet to try to figure out which one was closer.
Yep. They're all making sure to see how far is exactly 2 feet here. How many feet away is Noah's disc? This is just fun.
This is what we're here for. It probably looks like a toe closer. Nice. He got it.
Yeah, a couple inches closer. And Marwede had been borrowing Noah's pencil the whole time, so he handed him the CTP, and Noah's like, "Can I borrow my pencil back?"
Yeah, nice.
Taking a look here at the front nine scores, lots of green going on here. Even with Luke's one bogey, he's still
right
in the mix.
Yeah,
absolutely. And honestly, I think at this point in the round, I think there are 3 people tied at 6 down for the lead currently right now. So really tight race from everyone. Thanks again to all our Patreon supporters for supporting us, and we'll catch you on the back nine.
Yeah, looking forward to it.